Hey, it's Adam, and in this video I'm going to be teaching you how to overcome any addiction by loving it to death. And this might sound a little bit weird, but this is a very interesting strategy that I've discovered for myself that basically helps you go to the root cause of your addiction and to destroy it forever. So this advice that I'm going to be giving you in this video is something that I've learned from my own experience with addiction. If any of you know my story, when I was 16 years old, I was extremely addicted to playing video games, League of Legends. I would play like 12 hours of that game every day. I was addicted to watching porn, addicted to smoking weed, eating unhealthy food. And I'll tell you that I felt very depressed. And I'm someone who has an addictive personality. So for me, if something makes me feel good, it's not enough for me just to play 2 hours of video games and then turn it off and go on about my day. I'm someone who plays 12 hours of video games. I'm someone who doesn't just want to watch porn once a week, but I would do it like 10 times a day or something crazy like that. So I'm not exaggerating. I really can get sucked into things to the point where I actually lose myself, and it's very depressing. And sometimes this made me feel terrible because I noticed that I'm a young man who has so much potential in my life, and I was just wasting all of my energy doing these activities like playing video games where it just sucks me of my joy and sucks me of my passion and enthusiasm for life. And literally, I was feeling like a hollow shell of a human. Yeah, if you're a guy, if you've ever watched you ever masturbated like 5 times in a row, and then for the next couple days you literally feel like a hollow shell of a human, or if you eat tons of unhealthy food, basically addictions rob you of your full potential in your life. You could be practicing meditation, you could be reading books, you could be exercising at the gym, you could be working on your passion and building a successful career for yourself, but instead, you're watching 8 hours of Netflix every night, or you're smoking tons of weed with your friends. Now, the reason why this was a huge problem for me is because whenever I would try and quit my addiction, I always noticed this yo-yo effect. So I would do the activity, I'd play a million hours of video games to the point where I couldn't take it anymore, and I would delete the game from my computer, and I would stop playing it and I would tell myself I'm going to stop playing it forever. And that would work for a couple days, but then after a few days, the cravings would start to arise again. And then after a week, next thing I knew, I was back into the hole that I just dug myself out of. This is like the yo-yo effect. You quit, and then you go back. And then you quit, and then you relapse again, over and over and over again. A lot of people in the NoFap community, if you've ever tried stopping watching porn for as long as you can, you notice there's like this yo-yo effect where you seemingly can't get out of it. And in this video, I'm going to be teaching you a really counterintuitive strategy that is actually going to prevent this yo-yo effect from happening. The reason why people don't gain lasting results when it comes to quitting addictions is because they're trying to quit the addiction in a forceful way, where they're trying to manipulate and guilt and shame themselves into not doing the addictive behavior. And this strategy never works. I know, I've quit playing League of Legends 40 or 50 times. I would literally quit the game and then reinstall it the next day and then quit again. And every single time I'd play, I'd literally quit and then come back and quit. And it's very demoralizing. You start to really feel like a piece of shit where that you can't successfully do anything. Like if I can't stop playing this video game, how am I supposed to achieve my dreams and my goals? It's very demoralizing. And the thing that allowed me to finally quit for good was this exact strategy, which I'm going to be teaching you in this video. All right, it's very rare. You won't hear other teachers talking about this strategy. This is a root level solution that I will actually fix your problem for good. But of course, it requires work and it requires some dedication on your part. All right. So first I wanted to talk a little bit about what is addiction and what is the root cause of addiction. Why do we get addicted to things? And what I notice in my experience is that the reason why I get so addicted to doing things like playing video games, weed, porn, like we talked about, the reason why I get so addicted is just because I like to feel good. And it might sound very simple or stupid, but I actually just like feeling good. I like the experience of smoking weed because in that moment, for a brief moment, it makes me feel happy. I like eating ice cream because when I'm eating it, it gives me pleasure. And I think every single human being on earth likes to feel happy. That's something we all have in common. And every single person, I don't care who you are, every person is addicted to something. By addiction, I don't just mean hard drugs. So I don't just mean heroin, cocaine, even these days some video games and pornography are seen as like hard drugs because they are. Cigarettes, see, those are obvious addictions. If you don't smoke cigarettes and you don't do heroin, then you might think, oh, well, Adam, I'm not addicted to anything, so I don't need to watch this video. But actually, I guarantee you that you are addicted to dozens of things in very subtle ways. You might be addicted to checking your phone. You might be addicted to validation from other people. You might be addicted to checking out yourself in the mirror, seeing how you look. You might be addicted to going and partying and hanging out with your friends. So there's all kinds of addictions that all of us have. And really the root cause, what an addiction is when you depend on the activity in order to feel happy. So what I would define an addiction as is that I am depending on this activity so that I can feel happy. And that if I don't do this activity, I won't be able to feel happy by myself. I need this activity in order to gain happiness. It's basically you have a codependent relationship with, let's say, eating junk food. If you don't eat that junk food, you'll literally feel like there's a giant hole inside you and you won't know what to do. And the root cause of most addictions is basically you're just trying to avoid facing the discomfort that comes with just sitting and being. So if you've ever tried practicing meditation for an extended period of time, if you've ever meditated for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour, then immediately you'll notice how addicted you are to thinking, first and foremost, and to all kinds of ideas, and your addicted cravings for sex, cravings for food, cravings for entertainment. Just by sitting and doing nothing, you'll notice your mind is constantly trying to avoid just being present. It's actually uncomfortable. And that's the deepest and most root cause of addiction. But more practically speaking, basically, many of us use these addictive behaviors to make us feel comfortable and safe whenever we are experiencing high levels of stress. So after your stressful day at work, you come home and have a couple of drinks. It helps you cope with stress. It helps you cope with boredom. Your addiction helps you cope with fear. Fear of, let's say, sitting in front of that blank canvas and starting your painting. Fear of writing that song that you've been procrastinating. Fear of making your first YouTube video. Fear of sitting down with a journal and just writing out, what are my goals? We use addictions to keep us in our safe, comfortable zone so that we don't ever have to venture out and do something that is uncomfortable, so that we don't have to face our demons. These addictions are, in most cases, basically you just suppressing aspects of your own current experience. So whenever you feel the emotion of anger, you might go eat a bunch of food. Instead of feeling the emotion fully and acknowledging it, instead you don't like it, so you try and sweep it under the rug by burying it under a mountain of ice cream. And one thing I learned from Steven Pressfield from his book Turning Pro, he said that all artists are addicts. And I really love this. This really resonated with me because I personally am a very creative person. I naturally get a lot of good ideas, and I notice that whenever I get into an addictive hole, whenever I play hundreds of hours of video games or spend the whole day just watching Netflix, really what I'm doing is I'm avoiding doing my art. I'm avoiding sharing my gift with the world. Basically, what I'm doing is I'm self-sabotaging myself. The masters of self-sabotage are always artists. You'll notice that if you're someone who's an artist, you're very overly perfectionistic with your art. You'll make a beautiful painting, right? But instead of putting it out, what you'll do is you'll just nitpick it. You'll say, oh, this isn't right. Oh, this could have been better. Oh, that color over there is wrong. And then what you do is you just rip it up and then you never show anyone. So artists are masters of self-sabotage. And let me know in the comments if that's you, if that resonates with you. Definitely resonates with me whenever I want to avoid putting myself out there and making some good content. Normally I'll just fall into a hole of addiction to keep me in my comfort zone. So now I want to teach you about the main solution for this problem. I want to teach you the counterintuitive way to solve addiction in your life once and for all by loving it to death. And there's a dog barking outside, so I'm just going to actually close my window because it's rather distracting. All right, so the main ultimate solution to solving any addiction is raising your awareness of the present moment. Surprise, surprise. I say that in every one of my videos. The magic key to basically every single problem you have in your life, your relationship problems, your business problems, and also your addictions, the magic key is raising your awareness of the present moment. How do you do this? Through practicing daily meditation. If you meditate for 20 minutes a day, you'll notice it's a lot easier for you to quit the addiction that's giving you trouble. And I'll explain exactly why that's the case. Another way to raise your awareness is by experimenting with psychedelics in a responsible way, using the proper protocol that I go over in some of my other videos. You don't just want to dive into 5 grams of mushrooms. That will have the opposite effect that you intend. But instead, you want to gradually, slowly experiment with substances such as LSD and mushrooms, because these are really magic keys for giving you an experience of raised awareness with virtually no effort. And it sounds like a magic pill, because in a lot of ways it is. If you take 1 gram of mushrooms on an empty stomach following all the proper protocol, you'll notice that you'll actually get to the root cause of a lot of your addictions very quickly, within an hour or 2. And normally this kind of looks like you having to face some kind of childhood trauma, or you having to deal with feelings of unworthiness, or feeling like you're fake, feeling like you're an imposter, like you don't deserve all the good things that come to you in your life. This is a very visceral experience. This is literally like you're uprooting all of your demons. And many people are too afraid to face their demons, which is the root cause of addiction. And basically they feel like, oh no, I'm having a bad trip. Oh no. And then they don't know how to navigate those stormy waters. And then they just call the cops on themselves and get rushed to the hospital. So don't do that. Instead, follow the advice that I'm going to be giving you here in this video. Another way to raise your awareness is just by reading books. Read, educate yourself, learn about psychology, learn about shadow work, learn about personal development, learn about addictions, learn about spirituality. Those, just that learning, that is in effect raising your awareness, because you're becoming aware of possibilities that you didn't know about before. All right, here's the meat of the video. This is the main attitude shift that you need to embody so that you can allow your addictions to fall away without you having to force, to manipulate, to control, and to shame and guilt yourself. So really, we need to make a structural shift in our consciousness from ego consciousness to being consciousness. And a lot of people are listening to me saying, okay, Adam, how the hell do I do that? Sure, does this even work? Is this scientifically validated? Well, yes, it is scientifically validated. I scientifically validated it in my own life. This works for me. And this is the root cause of how to actually get rid of your addiction. We need to shift from an attitude of judgment, from an attitude of trying to control and manipulate yourself. So many people, they want to quit drinking. So what they do is they force themselves to quit. They say, okay, no more alcohol, which is a good thing. Alcohol is not good for you. They say, okay, no more alcohol, but they're not they secretly, they still want to have drinks, but what they're doing is they're basically forcing and they're guilting themselves. So whenever they feel that craving arise of, oh shit, I want to drink, they say to themselves, oh, I'm a bad person, I'm such a hopeless addict, I'll never be able to quit, I'm an alcoholic. And they manipulate their own mind to force themselves to basically stay away from alcohol. And the reason why Alcoholics Anonymous is not as effective as it could be is because they do not put a big emphasis on this raising awareness. This is the main key. The person who invented Alcoholics Anonymous, I forget his name, but when he originally did it, this was before LSD was illegal, and the use of LSD was actually like the main component for the Alcoholics Anonymous 12-step program. LSD was the 13th step. And the reason why is because raising awareness is the whole game in town here. This is how you solve root problems in your life. If you feel like you're yo-yoing and you're in this cycle, the problem is you're in ego consciousness. You're trying to quit the addiction by forcing yourself to quit, by shaming yourself, by guilting yourself, by telling yourself you're a bad person, by demonizing the substance. Oh, porn is evil. The whole industry is evil. Alcohol is evil. Junk food is evil. You're trying to demonize the substance. You're trying to suppress your craving for it. So you feel a genuine craving to smoke a cigarette, but then you're like, oh fuck, oh, I hate when I get this craving. Then you're fighting it. You're literally fighting yourself. This doesn't work. Whenever you're fighting yourself, you're at war with yourself, that drains energy. It makes you stressed. It makes you sad. And what's the best way to relieve stress? The only way you know how to do, which is relapsing back into your addictive tendency. So whenever we're trying to quit an addiction, we don't want to put unnecessary stress on ourselves by fighting ourselves. Instead, what we want to do is we want to shift from needy cognition into being cognition, which is now, instead of forcing ourselves, what we're going to do instead is we're going to take an attitude of curiosity. We're going to actually observe your mental processes and your physiological processes as well. Actually feel the craving for a cigarette. Feel it arising. Oh, there's a craving. And this attitude is very detached. It's like you don't really care if there's a craving or if there's not a craving. You're just curious. You just want to see how it works. I want you to observe yourself throughout your day using mindfulness, which is why the daily meditation is the key. Actually feel the craving for the cigarette arise. How does it feel? Where is it located in your body? Why did it arise? What was the trigger? If you have no awareness of your triggers, how do you ever expect to avoid them so that you can actually quit the addiction? Because all addictions have a couple parts. All habits have a couple parts. There's a trigger, there's a craving, there's an action where you actually do it, and then there's the reward. All right? If you have no awareness of what is your trigger, What is a craving? How does the craving feel? Where is it located in your body? How does it arise? So if you're trying to quit watching porn, but you use Instagram and you're scrolling and you're following beautiful women posting the pictures of themselves in bikinis, and that's your trigger, then you're going to be trying to quit porn, but you're still going to be constantly triggering yourself by using every time you open Instagram, you're going to be triggering yourself. So the main key here is we want to adopt an attitude of just curious observation. We also want to develop an attitude of acceptance, self-acceptance. Accept yourself for doing the behavior. This is a big one. Many people don't want to hear this. If you want to quit watching porn, for example, stop shaming yourself for doing it. You're not a bad person, okay? Just accept yourself. Like, it's okay. I like watching porn. Big deal. It's okay. I understand if you overdo it, if you watch it 30 times a day, that's a problem. But just when you do want to do it, just let yourself do it and actually enjoy it. Don't shame and guilt yourself. Just enjoy the beauty and magnificence and the profundity of the fact that you can go on the internet and type something in, and all of a sudden thousands of videos with graphic revealing content automatically appears. Isn't that a miracle? Actually appreciate that and actually enjoy the process. It sounds crazy. What I'm telling you sounds crazy. And your ego is probably saying, Adam, but if I enjoy the process, then I'm just gonna keep doing this and I'm never gonna quit and it's gonna ruin my life. See, that mindset is what is actually fueling the addiction. What if you can just allow reality to be as it is? What if you just allow yourself to eat some junk food? If you have a craving to eat an entire chocolate cake, then the main advice I give you, if you have that craving, is very mindfully just say, oh, there's a craving to eat the chocolate cake. Normally what'll happen is you're going to fight yourself. Like, oh, fuck, I want that cake. Fuck. This is literally how people think. This is how I think. You literally see people, fuck, I wish that cake wasn't there. Why are you fighting yourself? If you want a piece of cake, have a piece of cake, okay? But as you're having it, don't think you're a bad person in the back of your mind. Don't judge and criticize and guilt yourself. Actually be present and actually enjoy eating the cake. Pick up the fork, feel your mouth start to salivate, feel the craving, the excitement. If you're a real cake addict, your heart might start pumping because you're actually so excited to eat the cake. Actually enjoy how beautiful the cake is. Maybe it's a nice chocolate cake. Fork it. Actually look at it. Appreciate it. Take a bite. Enjoy the way it makes your taste buds feel. Enjoy it. Normally, what you do with your addictive tendency is that you're doing it unconsciously. You're doing it, but then in the back of your mind, you're thinking of something else, or you're guilting yourself, or you're eating a whole chocolate cake, but you're watching TV at the same time. Instead of that, actually just eat the cake. And enjoy it, and it's okay. It's okay. Have more. If you want more, have more. You want another slice? Have another slice. Keep eating the cake until you actually feel like, oh fuck, I'm sick right now. I actually feel sick. You don't have to force yourself to get to that point, but if there's a genuine craving to eat, what that means is that you haven't allowed your awareness to actually directly experience why cake is bad for you. What you've done is you've just kind of absorbed ideas where other people say, oh, cake makes you fat, so then you force yourself to stop eating it, but deep down in your heart, you still want it. And as long as you still want it, you will never be able to get rid of it. Even if you haven't eaten a piece of cake in 5 years, but you still want it, in my mind, I still consider you to be an addict. So people talk, they're like, oh, I haven't had a drink in 10 years. But that entire 10 years, they're fighting themselves. They're afraid. It's like their whole life, they're walking on eggshells. They're afraid of not, they see a bar and they close their eyes. They're like, oh no, I can't, or if I go into that bar, I might relapse. 10 years of fear and suppression and guilt. If you apply what I'm telling you here and you actually allow yourself to do the addictive behavior, but do it with an attitude of curiosity. Do it with awareness. Be curious. Why do I like drinking? Actually, take a sip. Oh, feel it. It's like, oh, fuck, my body hates this. Or maybe your body likes it. But you have to actually be aware. And also be aware of the side effects. Be aware of how you feel afterwards. So when you eat that whole chocolate cake, sit there with a stomach full of chocolate cake and feel how tired you feel. Feel how bloated you feel. Feel your stomach ache. Feel how your thoughts are. Are they clear and precise, or are they cloudy and foggy? So actually be aware of how you feel. And again, we're not judging ourselves. We're not criticizing and guilting ourselves. We're just trying to understand how reality works. We don't know how it works. That's why we're still addicted to the cake. If you fully understood experientially the detriments of eating an entire chocolate cake, you wouldn't do it. You wouldn't even feel the craving. I used to be addicted to eating cake. I'll be honest, my mom is an amazing chef. She makes great cakes. I used to eat like 20 slices. Nowadays, if someone brings out a giant cake, I don't even want it. I don't even want it. Because I'm aware of, first of all, the ingredients in that cake are very unhealthy for your body. But mainly, I'm aware of how it makes me feel. Because I've done this process where I have a slice in full awareness. I'm not avoiding the fact that I'm eating cake. I'm not looking the other way and then sneaking a couple pieces into my mouth. I'm actually facing the fact that I'm eating cake and I'm enjoying it. And that's okay. So practically, actually embrace it. Embrace your addiction. And what this is what it will look like. So if you are addicted to cigarettes, okay? Instead of you say, oh fuck, I have another craving for cigarettes. Fuck. I know they're bad for me, but I still want it for some reason. Actually, go have a cigarette Notice there's a trigger, there's a craving, and actually be curious about this process. Observe yourself. Observe your feelings, your thoughts, everything, your judgments. Observe your guilt. Observe your tendency to suppress. Observe all these things. You don't need to force yourself to observe. You just need to observe. Okay, so you'll notice at first all kinds of judgment, guilt, shame comes up as it normally does, but now you're observing it. Just let it be there. Okay? Just watch with curiosity. Oh, wow. I'm very neurotic. I fight myself a lot. This isn't very helpful, but just you have to keep watching. You can't change it. You just need to watch. Just through the process of observing something happening, automatically that thing will change itself. I'll give you a practical example right now. Without trying to change or manipulate, I want you to feel if you have any tension in your shoulders. You don't have to release the tension. Just put your awareness on your shoulders and feel for tension. How does that change your breath? How does that change your feeling state? Now put your awareness on the top of your head, your scalp. Is there any tension in your scalp? Did you notice that just by putting your attention on the thing, it actually fixes itself? You don't need to actively release the tension in your scalp. Just by being aware of the tension, it releases itself. Be aware of the tension in your jaw. See? You don't need to relax your jaw. Your jaw relaxes itself once you put your attention on it. And in the same way, you don't need to quit your addiction. You just need to put your awareness on it. Be aware of it. What is happening? Why is this pattern continuing to manifest over and over again? Just watch with playfulness, an attitude of playfulness, as if you're a little kid exploring a beautiful forest. Just go walk around and go see the beautiful things. Go look. Be curious. Oh, look under the logs. Just to see what's there. So take this attitude in your life with your own body, with your own awareness. Be curious. Look under the logs. Look in the dark places where normally you would suppress. Instead, allow it. Observe it. Be curious about it. And actually enjoy this process. What you'll notice is that if you have a cigarette and you actually allow yourself, for the first time in your life since you first began smoking, actually allow yourself to enjoy the smoke. Actually, let yourself enjoy it. Now, many people will say, Adam, this is terrible advice. You're basically advocating smoking. No, I'm advocating awareness. Obviously, smoking is not good for you, but it doesn't help if I tell you that. I could give you 1,000,000 scientific studies for why smoking is bad for you. I could put disgusting pictures on the packs of cigarettes. Do people stop smoking? No. The reason why is because they're not aware of how it affects their body. So actually, take a pull of the cigarette and feel how it enters your lungs. Feel how shitty your lungs feel with that cigarette smoke in them. It's like sharp. Actually feel what it's doing. Your body doesn't like it. But you won't know that until you actually observe and you be aware of it. All right? So I've given you plenty of practical examples in this video. You're trying to quit porn. Instead of doing no fap and counting the days like a monkey, counting the days, how many days I've gone without watching porn. Instead of doing that, just be aware of what is going on in the present moment. If you want to watch porn, okay, but be aware of yourself while you're doing it. Be aware. Actually, do it with curiosity. Do it because you love reality. You love existence. Feel grateful for the fact that you can smoke a cigarette, for the fact that you can watch porn, that you can have a drink, that you can play video games. Feel gratitude for that and actually enjoy it as if you're playing for the first time. And if you feel the craving, sometimes it's actually better to act it out in awareness than it is to suppress it and secretly hide the craving. Don't suppress your cravings. Just let yourself act out the craving with awareness, with consciousness. Try doing a 1 gram mushroom trip, and then immediately after your trip, do the activity that you're trying to quit. Somebody I know who was addicted to doing drugs, they couldn't quit for the life of them. They were hooked. But what they did is they did a mushroom trip, and then after the mushroom trip, they did the drug that they normally did, and then that was like the last time they ever did it. It was like they had an epiphany, a realization that, oh shit, this drug, I think that I like it, but actually now that I have more awareness from the mushrooms, now I'm aware that this drug's actually hurting me and that I don't actually like it. And then it will naturally let itself go. You don't need to force yourself to quit. You need to allow the quitting to happen automatically because you genuinely don't want the thing anymore. For example, I used to be extremely addicted to smoking weed. I used to do it every day. When I would try and quit, I would go out, hang out with my friends, they'd have some weed, I'd feel the craving, but then I'd fight myself. And that never works. It drains your energy and eventually you're going to cave in and you're going to relapse. But as I started practicing daily meditation, as I started experimenting responsibly with low doses of psychedelics, as I started reading and learning about spirituality, nowadays, after I've gone on meditation retreats where I meditate for hundreds of hours and I'm actually in a higher state of consciousness than I was before, nowadays, if I am offered some marijuana, I don't even crave it because I genuinely don't want to smoke it because it makes me feel bad. I'm aware of what it does to me. All right? Shift your identity. Many people who quit alcohol, every time they go to Alcoholics Anonymous, they're a year into their quitting, They have to introduce themselves. They say, hey, my name is John and I'm an alcoholic, even though you're a year sober. Why are you still thinking you're an alcoholic? I understand the reason why they do that is because you first need to admit that you're an alcoholic, because denial is a big problem as well. But after you are aware that you're an alcoholic, stop calling yourself an alcoholic. Because then your whole life, you're going to be afraid of having a drink. You're going to be afraid, oh, if I have a drink, then I'm going to relapse and I'm going to have 100 drinks. If you still want to do that, maybe you should have 100 drinks with awareness, with mindfulness, to see that why is that craving still there? Why would you even want to have 100 drinks? Why would you even want to watch tons of porn or play 10 hours of video games or eat an entire chocolate cake? Why would you even want that? Because you want it. That's the problem, is you still want it. So as long as you still want it, actually let yourself do it. Let yourself be aware of the fact that it's not working for your body. Gain that experiential awareness. And naturally, the next time you want that thing, you'll just naturally just let it go. The way I quit eating pizza, well, 4 or 5 years ago when I cleaned up my diet, what I did was I had a giant pepperoni pizza at a restaurant. I ate the whole thing to my face. And then right afterwards, I had a yoga class scheduled, and I went to the yoga class right after I ate the entire pizza. And I did 1 hour of yoga with a massive pizza in my stomach. Talk about being forced to be aware of the negative consequences of the unhealthy food. That was the most terrible experience I've ever had doing a year of yoga, an hour of yoga with a whole pizza in my stomach. There was a lot of suffering, and I was forced to be aware of how the pizza is affecting my body, and then naturally, I didn't even want it anymore. It almost let itself go because the awareness learned its lesson. All right. I hope you understand what I'm saying here in this video. I hope you're able to grasp the importance of what's going on here. I hope you understand that if you keep trying to quit your addictions by forcing yourself to quit, by guilting and shaming yourself, I hope you understand why this doesn't work. Because you're basically in a low state of ego consciousness. And that low state is what is fueling your addiction. Instead, what you need to do is you need to raise your awareness, raise your consciousness, and what that automatically brings is the ability to feel happy and the ability to feel grounded in the present moment without the dependency on the substance to do it for you. When I was addicted to weed, I used to smoke weed because it helped me connect to the present moment for a little bit, but then afterwards I'd feel foggy and cloudy and unmotivated. That's because I had a codependent relationship. I was relying on the weed to make me aware and happy. But as we do meditation, learn about personal development, do psychedelics in a healthy way, which is what I talk about here on this channel, as we learn the proper ways to ground ourselves in our own being, to just feel happy, just sitting and doing nothing without the need for stimulation, then that is the only way that you'll be able to solve the root cause of your addiction. Otherwise, you're just going to be fighting with yourself, and you're going to be dependent on the substance to make you happy, as opposed to allowing yourself to feel happy with natural ways like yoga, meditation, even psychedelics. The happiness needs to come from within. The fulfillment, the pleasure, the love needs to come within. You need to learn how to ground yourself in your body, in your own natural state of love. Not that you're chasing the love in an external source. All right. Hope you enjoyed this video. If it helped you, then let me know in the comments section. Leave it a like, subscribe, because I have more awesome videos like this coming up. I'm super excited to go in even more detail about the main difference of how to shift from ego cognition to being cognition. How to shift from needy perception to being perception. That's what Maslow called it. And this is really where serious personal development happens. There's all kinds of personal development advice on YouTube. A lot of it is awesome. A lot of it is so-so. A lot of it is very shallow, where all we're doing is we're just kind of reorganizing the pieces on the chessboard of your life, but we're not actually understanding what a chessboard is and what it's made of. So here on this channel, I'm not interested in sharing with you shallow personal development, quick 5-minute videos where all we do is I give you 2 quick tips for solving your addiction forever, and it's a 2-minute video. Because if I did that, you wouldn't actually gain the understanding, you wouldn't actually gain the awareness, and therefore you wouldn't actually grow as a person. And what I'm interested in is actually growing myself as a person in a legitimate way, where I'm not just pretending like I'm growing, but I'm actually growing, and sharing that with you and helping you understand how personal development works, how all of life works, how spirituality works, how beliefs and philosophy works, how psychology works, how science works. It's all connected. You can't separate them apart. They're all connected. All of reality is one. If you want to live the best possible life for yourself, you can't ignore spirituality. You can't ignore learning about politics. You can't ignore these things. People want to just only do personal development. They just want to optimize their habits. And they're just optimizing and optimizing and optimizing. Your whole life is just about optimizing, as if you're a computer. You're not a computer. You're a human being, not a human doing. So in order to be a human being, you need to learn what being is. Hello, it's right here. Being, how it works. And that's what I'm going to be talking about in future videos. Stay tuned. I have some amazing content on the way. And thanks for watching. Share this video with your friends. Helps my channel grow. And otherwise, I will see you in the next video.